Senator, what are the chances that Congress will pass this compromise plan that your bipartisan group has come up with? And I guess more specifically, how assured are you that Senate Majority Leader McConnell will support it and that President Trump will sign it?
President Trump has indicated that he would sign a $908 billion package. There's only one $908 billion package out there. That's ours. Leader McConnell has said he's not interested in making a point. He wants something which passes into law. It only can pass into law if it's bipartisan in the House and the Senate, and ours is. Now, neither have said, oh, we'll sign your bill. That's fair. We have final language. Our final language, Chris, will probably come out earlier this week. And so then people can look at it and we can modify it as needed. But the indications I get, the pain of the American people is driving this, and I'm optimistic that both those leaders will come on board.
Let's do a lightning round. Quick questions, quick answers, and some of the specifics about the legislation. Some members of your group and also outside your group are calling for another round of $1,200 direct payments to every adult American. Is that go or no go for you?
Let me nuance that. It may be a go, but it's not in this bill. This is not a stimulus bill. It is a relief bill. And it's something for the next 3 to 4 months to help those in greatest need. There may be a stimulus check, but that would be part of a different piece of legislation.
Will the moratorium on evictions be extended?
We do extend that, but we also bring relief to the landlords. They're the ones holding the bag. And so we're giving relief to the landlords on the condition that the person not be evicted. We do think we get there.
Now, Democrats have made it clear, not in your group, but generally, that they oppose liability protection for businesses that reopened during the pandemic. Is that non-negotiable for Republicans? Does that have to be in the bill?
Define non-negotiable. There has to be some liability protection. Think about it. At first, CDC and Dr. Fauci were saying don't wear a mask. And then they were saying wear a mask. And so there's been ambiguity as we have gone through. And then think of that small restaurant when people were told not to wear a mask, and now someone's going to file a claim. Just the discovery would make them bankrupt. So we've got to have something, but it has to be something that we negotiate that's acceptable to both. And frankly, that's one of the sticking points right now.
President-elect Biden says he supports this compromise that you and the others are offering as a, quote, down payment, but that he fully intends to come back after he's inaugurated in 2021 and ask for more. Take a look at what he said.
Americans need help, and they need it now. And they need more to come early next year.
Do you agree that Washington will need to pass more stimulus, more relief in 2021 to help prop up the economy?
Hey, tell me what the vaccine uptake is. Tell me what the infection rate is. If the vaccine is being deployed, infection rates are falling, stores are reopening, small businesses are flourishing, we don't. But if the infection rate continues to climb, we may. So you have to kind of give me the variables upon which I'm deciding. I'm hoping that vaccine deployment begins to reopen things as infection rates fall.
I want to change subjects on you. You are one of the few Republicans in the Senate to openly state that Joe Biden won this election and is the next president. I want to play a clip from President Trump in his rally in Georgia last night. Take a look, sir.
They cheated and they rigged our presidential election, but we will still win it. We will still win it.
Does the president's refusal to accept the election results more than a month afterwards, does that damage our democracy, sir?
First, let me say that the president, in effect, has conceded when he ordered the General Service Administration to begin the transition. And so if by damaging our democracy, you mean that the next administration won't be prepared, that preparation is taking place. Now, if you want to speak about how things are undermined, I think the president, by the way, if there's fraud, it should be uncovered. But it should be uncovered in a way which a judge agrees. If the president's able to show that, then that's important. If they can't show, that's also important. I'm hoping the American people would look and say, Yeah, proven in a court of law? No, the court of law threw it out and used that to base their faith in how the elections go. And so it's incumbent upon the president and his legal team to establish that.
But you've come to the conclusion, and you talk about the fact that all of these cases that his team has offered have been thrown out. You've come to the conclusion that Joe Biden has won. Even though there are more cases out there, does it hurt, do you feel, the fact that the vast majority of your Republican colleagues in the Senate refused to accept the results of the election? Does that undermine the election, not in the sense that there are transition meetings, but that it means that millions of people may never accept Joe Biden as the legitimate president?
You're giving me a hypothetical, and I can't tell you what millions of people are going to do. All I can say is that we are one nation. In many, we become one. And so at the end of this, if the legal challenges are exhausted, and by the way, if it goes as it currently is going, which appears likely, then ideally the American people say, hey, we're first Americans, let's work together for the future of our country, as opposed to continue to harbor grievances. We don't want to be a nation which fights another nation for 1,000 years. We want to recognize that we are the American people, and we are going to work for each other. And yes, have your day in court. And if it's fraud, uncover that fraud. And if not, we move on. That's where we are. I'm hopeful that we would move on, whichever direction that falls out.
Finally, Congress is expected to pass the Defense Authorization Act this week and send it on to the president. But President Trump says he intends to veto it unless it strikes Section 230 of the Communications Act, which provides protection for tech giants like Facebook and Twitter. If the president, and he has said he's going to veto it, if he does, will you vote to override that veto?
We need to pay our troops. We need defense. And so my inclination would be to always vote for the troops and to vote for our national security, but to look for another vehicle to address the Section 230 issues that are so important to the president.